Hi, it's Paul Martinelli. It's Thursday at about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in my office and I couldn't sleep. My mind last night was just racing, and if you've ever been chasing a big goal, you know exactly where I'm at. You know, one of the things that I've learned from Mary Morrissey, one of my great friends and teachers and mentors, is, don't make an agreement with struggle. And I absolutely love that. And I've also have kind of my own version of that is don't fight inspiration. That whenever we find ourselves feeling inspired, intuitively guided by God to do something, you've got to act, right? That's so important. I'm absolutely convinced. My ego would love me to believe that, you really care to hear what I have to say. The truth is, if you were listening to what I had to say, I'd probably bore you. I think whenever I speak or teach and or share ideas, and somebody comes up and says, gosh, what you said really inspired me, really is what they mean, is that my best work doesn't come from me, it comes through me. It's when I'm inspired. And I was thinking about, I knew, this is Labor Day weekend, and I wanted to share a Labor Day message. And something that I realized is when I start thinking and planning about what I'm going to talk about, ideas start coming in, and then one just kind of becomes the dominant idea. So I'm thinking about Labor Day, and what was pouncing on my brain and in my awareness so heavily was this concept of labor of love. Labor of love. And I thought, well, I want to talk about Labor Day. I want to talk about, thank everybody for their hard work, and that kind of a message is what Paul wanted to talk about, right? But inspiration was saying, no, Paul, talk about the labor of love. And I didn't have anything. I'm thinking, well, geez, it's coming up to the weekend. And yesterday, I was sitting down, and I had a great day yesterday. I had an opportunity to spend the day with John Maxwell. I got to be in 2 recording sessions with him, had lunch with him, and I was with about a group of friends and leaders from another company. And there was one gentleman sitting next to, John was between myself and this other gentleman, Roy Rude, who is 91 years old. And John was talking to him about his life, and somebody at the table asked John about Billy Graham, how Billy Graham was doing, knowing that John sees Billy Graham frequently. John said, well, he's having some health difficulties. I mean, I think all of us have seen that on the news. And he said, but his spirit is there. He said, that Billy Graham, absolutely missed his wife. And he said on his last visit, he spends a couple hours with him. And he said, Billy Graham he's 91 years old. And he said, but every time before I leave, he said, what Billy does is he asks me if he could pray for me, and he puts his hands on my head, and he gives me a blessing. And right there I said, now that's a labor of love. Here's a guy who spent his entire life, Billy Graham, as an evangelist, speaking all over the world, preaching, praying for other people. At 91, media reporting, failing health, still doing what he loves, still laboring within his love. That the highest thing that he wants to do for John Maxwell is pray for him before he leaves. So this weekend, I'm going to really bathe in that inspired idea, and I encourage you to do the same. Typically, for a long time, I used to think that Labor Day was a day when I wasn't going to work. I used to own a commercial cleaning company, and usually on Labor Days, we used to do a lot of work because companies had 3-day weekends. So that's when we could strip and wax the floors. That's when we could clean the carpets. That's when we could do some of the stuff that we couldn't do normally when we were in time constraints. So if we had that weekend, we would work. And I always thought, I don't want to work on Labor Day. After being inspired by this idea, spending time in the presence of a really big thinker like John Maxwell, and following the intuitive guide of spirit, I'm going to labor in love this weekend. I'm going to make sure that some of this time, over this course of the weekend, I do as a labor of love. I'm going to find something that I absolutely love to do that's work related. And I'm going to make sure that I do that. And I'm going to do so with the knowing and the awareness that I am blessed to be able to labor in what I love to do. And I hope you are too. Have a great holiday with your family. This has been Paul Martinelli. Be well.